Well, it happened over the weekend. The Boston Bruins are officially out of the playoffs. They're one of the bottom 5 teams in the league right now. With that in mind, I wanted to look into the future and talk about who the Boston Bruins could draft in that top 5 at the NHL Entry Draft. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. To say this Bruins season has been a disappointment is an understatement, but the silver lining in it all is the Bruins most likely will have a top 5 pick for their first time since selecting Tyler Seguin second overall in 2010. It honestly would have been a lot worse if the Boston Bruins had finished like 10th or 11th and not made the playoffs or just squeaked in. So then we would have this big sell-off that happened and still not a top 5 pick. We could get into what got the Bruins to this whole situation, but that would be a whole other video. I want to try and stay in the positive zone here for this one and talk about the top 5 players based on Central Scouting ranks that are available this year. Currently, the Bruins rank 29th, which puts them at 4th overall, but thanks to the draft lottery, the Bruins could still get 1st overall. Teams can only win the lottery twice in 5-year span. It's rare to see teams with minuscule odds win it all, but it happened in 2020 with the New York Rangers, who won the lottery with the 14th best odds and took Alex Lafreniere. We didn't see any changes at the top last year, with all the lottery teams remaining in their draft spots. 2 years ago, though, the Anaheim Ducks had the best odds of selecting 1st overall, with a 25.5% chance at the lottery. Instead, the Chicago Blackhawks won, sitting at 3rd at 11.5%. Earning the honor of drafting Connor Bedard with the 1st pick, with the Columbus Blue Jackets falling from 2nd to 3rd. Bruins at 29th have a 9.5% chance of moving up to 1st overall in the draft. The team that finishes last has 25%, and second last is 13.5%, and the third last is 11.5%. As a result of the draft lottery rules changes have made effective in 2021, a team may only move up a maximum of 10 spots from finishing position. That means only the bottom 11 teams had a shot at number 1 overall. Needless to say, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the Bruins could get the 1st overall pick, but most likely they'll be in the top 5 at least, as long as they continue their current pace of mediocrity. I will focus on the top 5 players available regardless of position because I think you should always take the best player available and not draft by need. The funny thing is the Bruins need prospects for their farm system, but if I had to say what their biggest need is, it would be center depth. There's a bit of a drop-off after pick 6 this year, but the good news is there are some pretty good centermen available in the top 5. There's no guarantee that any of these kids selected this year will play next year or even year after. And even if they did, there's no guarantee they would have an immediate impact. I don't want to get everybody's hopes up that whoever the Bruins take this year is going to be the next superstar. That's just not how it works. The draft is a gamble any way you look at it, but it kind of what makes it fun and exciting too. First on my list is Anton, who is number 5 on the list, but he could be a steal at this draft. He is 6'1", 198-pound center who plays for Jurgens IF. I know I screwed that one up. The reason I say he could be a steal is because his season has been plagued by injuries, and according to scouts, struggled to find his game when he returned. However, that has all changed as of late, as the player many saw last season has found his dominance as a second-tier pro level. He's up to 25 points in 29 games, and in his last 10 games, he has 15 points. He is a solid two-way player with a high hockey IQ, according to scouts, and some are raving about his composure on the ice at such a young age. Him playing at high-level hockey with men in Europe is an asset. If you remember, Austin Matthews used this for his development. According to Peter Barancini from the Hockey Writers, Frundell is great at making himself a threat in quiet areas on the ice as he opens himself up for an opportunity or can take the puck and drive to the middle, excelling with his hands and puck control in tight spaces. He can beat defenders one-on-one easily when he has the puck, using quick one-touch moves, cuts to the inside, and drives to open space. He's a dual-threat offensive producer as he is a powerful one-time shot and has a swift and accurate wrist shot. His playmaking is just as impressive as showing great deception, drawing players in and using his vision to spot his teammates and put the puck in the right spot. While he can be versatile and engaging threat offensively, Frundell's ability to be a reliable defensive presence makes him a well-rounded player. Much like his ability to use his size in offensive zone, he hounds the puck very well and coverages on the puck carrier to force them into making mistakes and creates turnovers with his angling and positioning very well. Whether he has the puck or not, he has a great attention to detail and does little things right on the ice. He's a player that you can rely on in any situation, and he can do it on a consistent basis. The reason I say he could be a steal is because of his injury issue is the reason he's dropped down in the rankings, and he could have easily seen him as a top 3 pick if it wasn't for his injury. Player with his size, skill, speed, and strong two-way game screams Boston Bruin, and it doesn't hurt that he plays center. So, if the Bruins are at 4 or 5 and he's available, I'd be hard not to take him. The next player I want to talk about is Porter Martone from the Brampton Steelheads of the OHL. He's a 6'3", 208-pound winger from the Ontario Hockey League who also happens to be born on the same day as me. This last point means nothing, but I kind of liked it for obvious reasons. He is pretty much ranked 4th on almost every scouting report and one of the most top consensus picks in the top 5. I know everyone says the Bruins should draft a centerman, but this kid looks like a winner and someone that could provide size and scoring punch. He's the captain of his team and was the captain of Team Canada at the Under-17 tournament, letting us know he's a leader on and off the ice. He is over a point-per-game player this season and known not to be afraid to play physical as well, not afraid to go to the net and play hard in the areas of the game. The Bruins this season had many big players, but they all seemed to lack the intensity to play the big game hard enough and were more gentle big men than physical ones. A power forward of his size would be hard to pass up if he was available when the Bruins turned to pick. A knock on him is his skating, as his foot speed needs some improvement. This could scare some teams away, as the NHL game is a heck of a lot faster than the OHL, so as he's having issues with pace there, he will certainly have issues at the NHL level. He can work on his skating as his hands and hockey IQ help him stand out on the ice. According to Peter Baracchini from the Hockey Writers. I'm using Peter because his scouting reports on these kids have been fantastic. He has a lethal shot from mid-range, showing great power in his release, but he also can do a lot of damage in front of the net. He shows the ability to fight and battle for second chances opportunities, digging for pucks and using quick hands to get free and convert on scoring chances. He's always making himself available as an option, and he can easily bully his way to the spot with ease. He has 32 goals this season, but his decision-making when shooting can be better, as there are times when he forces shots when there isn't a prime scoring chance. Though the power, accuracy, and skill plays score goals are already there. His play away from the puck shows a lot of promise as well, showing that the ability to backcheck and pressure opponents. While he can look to be a bit more consistent off the puck, he shows great awareness and ability to be right spot and anticipate plays and regain possession. Honestly, he feels like a prototypical Bruin, and a guy Cam Neely has forced Don Sweeney to try and find via trade this season and many seasons before that and failed. The skating issue would be a huge warning sign for me, but I know with the right program and skating and structure, it could be worked on. His intangibles are there, and his leadership qualities already make him an asset on any team. I do worry, though, that the Bruins would try and develop him in a bottom 6 role like they have with so many other players before him, and would all think he's a bust before he can even play a game. I also have my doubts the Bruins won't draft a center no matter what position they are in the draft this year. Players like Brady and Matthew Tkachuk and Tom Wilson showing the play style can be a difference maker, the Bruins would be hard-pressed to pass on him if they are pick number 4. The next player on the list is James Hagens from Boston College. I'm sure you have all heard every Bruins podcast and everyone on social media telling you this kid is destined to be a Boston Bruin. He plays center, and some might say sitting at 5'10", his size could be an issue. Good things come in small packages because Hagens is a freshman at Boston College and he's been turning heads. I'm sure the Boston Bruins have seen him play countless times, and because the Bruins have been drawn to players that play college in Boston area, that if he's available, they're probably going to pick him. Not known for his goal scoring ability and more of a playmaker, as he's got 34 points this season, but 29 of them were assists. He was once thought to be the first overall pick, but with the emergence of 2 players I will speak of later, his stock has kind of dropped a bit. I think his weak spot is that lack of scoring, and NHL scouts are always going to knock him for his size. My dad was one of the shortest players to ever play, and he had 11 years in the NHL, so I'm never going to knock a player for their size. This may sound kind of weird though, but I'm kind of tired of the Bruins always looking to take a college kid though. I live in Canada and in the OHL region, and I would love for the Bruins to take a young Canadian kid that I can actually watch before they make it to the show. I know that's 100% selfish, but I'm just being honest. According to Peter from the Hockey Writers, Hagens is a dual offensive threat, though it's his playmaking, passing, and play driving skills that really makes everyone around him better. He can easily spot seams, open lanes, and place the puck in perfect spots for his teammates for prime scoring chances. He's all over the offensive zone, and his puck skills in tight spaces make him difficult to contain, especially dangerously when he's hitting his stride. He has a lethal and quick shot, and while he hasn't utilized it as much this season compared to what he's shown in the past, don't underestimate him when he has space to walk in and shoot. Much like his ability to quickly catch defenders off guard on the rush, Hagens reads an ability to be a factor without the puck stands out. He's always in position to backcheck, and when there's a mistake, he's able to quickly pounce on the opportunity, quickly transition back into the offense, and catch his defenders off guard. He shows a knack for consistently attacking and pushing the play to the middle of the ice and crash the crease for loose puck. With his speed, he'd be an asset to the Bruins, but I don't think he would be making the jump right away either, and he would most likely play at least one more year at Boston College if the Bruins pick him. His speed and offensive awareness is something the Bruins surely are lacking and could use a lot more. The Bruins need help down the middle, and we all know the Bruins love their college players, so if he's available, I kind of have no doubt the Bruins are going to take him. The next player is rated number 2, but if I'm the Boston Bruins and I get the first overall pick, without hesitation, I'm taking Michael Misa. 6'1", 185-pound center from Oakville, Ontario, plays for the Saginaw Spirit of the OHL. This kid has it all, and I'm sure a little shocked he isn't the consensus number 1 overall pick. Someone close to me told me he could be better than Macklin Celebrini. It's interesting because some scouts have him at number 4 and 5, which is a shocker to me. Out of everyone on the list, Misa is the one kid I have been lucky enough to watch play, and I was very much impressed by his game. He won the Memorial Cup last season with the Spirit, and this season they made him captain of the team. In 65 games this year, he has 62 goals and 72 assists for 134 points. Last season in 67 games, he only had 75 points. So 134 points is a huge jump from the previous season. Misa also scored 50 goals in exactly 50 games this season in the OHL. Misa isn't a generational talent by any means, but he looks to be a difference maker and could instantly upgrade the center position for the Boston Bruins. Misa has blazing speed with a high hockey IQ and, believe it or not, has strong defensive game as well. He has a strong forecheck, and his vision on the ice allows him to create scoring chances and some might not even have seen. His speed allows him for fast zone entries, and he's been able to create space for himself and the players around him by sucking in the defenders. What he brings to the table for the Boston Bruins is what they desperately need, and I don't think in my years being a fan of the team that they've ever drafted a guy that could be elite and well-rounded at the same time as Misa. Misa would instantly speed up the retool in Boston and inject youth and speed into the lineup at the center position. The Bruins haven't had a player like Misa with a shot and stick handling skills since Pasternak joined the club. He would be a departure from the two-way hard-checking, hard-nosed players the Bruins usually covet, but I think he's a can't-miss player and would help bring the Bruins in the direction they need to go in, which would be adding more skill to this lineup. Last, and certainly not least, is one of the highest rated prospects at the draft this year, and that's defenseman Matthew Schaefer. Schaefer is a 6'2", 183-pound defenseman who plays for the Erie Otters. Last Erie Otter to go first overall in the NHL Entry Draft was Connor McDavid. So if it happens for Schaefer, he would be in some good company. Schaefer by no means is Connor McDavid, but he is the consensus number 1 pick for most scouts. And he even missed 3 months with injury suffered at the World Juniors. He is a two-way defender with some dynamite first passes and excels on transition. If you take his foot speed and match it with his speed, it makes him dominant on the ice. When watching him at the World Juniors before his injury, he looked like the best player in the tournament by a wide margin. He's not afraid to sacrifice the body, and not enough is said about his defensive game. He would need to bulk up to play in the NHL, but there's not many faults to his game right now. His vision from the back end is hard not to compare him to fellow countryman Cal McCarr, as Schaefer seems to be able to find players open who didn't even know they had the space. When he's on the ice, Schaefer is dominant and controls the play from the back end. He's either making great outlet passes, scoring a goal with his great shot, or breaking up the play to get the puck moving the other way. If it wasn't for his injury, he would most likely be the no-doubt first pick in the upcoming NHL Entry Draft. Because this video is about the Boston Bruins, I think if the Bruins do get the first overall choice, they don't take Schaefer, and they would take Misa. I feel you should always take the best player available, but when there is a no surefire first overall pick, it's kind of a gray area. It's a lot easier to find someone to play on your back end via the trade market than it is to find a top 6 center. Now, keep in mind the Bruins currently sit around 4th overall and would need to win the draft lottery to even have a chance to draft Schaefer or Misa, because neither will be available after pick number 2. If the draft order doesn't change, I would expect the Sharks to draft Schaefer and the Blackhawks will take Misa, meaning the Bruins would have to chance at drafting anyone of the three of Hagens, Martin, or Frundell. It's not a bad place to be in for the Bruins, but they would need to play consistently bad like they have to stay in that position. This may sound crazy though, but one of the biggest concerns with the Bruins lately is their development of young talent. They have a habit of saying player A is going to play this role and only offering him an opportunity at that position. We saw it when they drafted Johnny Beecher in the first round, and they said at draft day they see him in a bottom six role. So why do you draft him in the first round? I'm also concerned they take Hagens only because he's playing locally instead of taking the best player available, but only time will tell if the Bruins change their ways. I'm going to go more in depth on this topic in another video because I think it requires a larger conversation. I want to hear from you though. Who would you choose if you got the first overall pick, and who would you choose if the Bruins stayed at fourth overall? To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.